The question I want to ask is not how many weeks are we going to see A.J. Brown missing? It's, are we going to actually get A.J. Brown traded out of Philadelphia? I mean, this hamstring injury kind of comes out of nowhere. He hasn't practiced all week. Last week, he had the best game of his NFL career. Let's talk about everything that has come out as of late. First thing is, you actually have no Nico Collins and no Christian Kirk. I may or may not have just traded for Nico Collins in the Flock League. I have been wheeling and dealing. Y'all already saw me trade Cam Scattaboo for Romy, and now we maybe just made an even bigger deal that y'all will see in 1 second. Now, beyond this, Brandon Ayuk could have a 21-day practice window open next week. Brandon Ayuk has been rising up by rankings ever so slightly as we go through this season. And as soon as he's activated from the IR, he'll probably jump a few more spots. Brock Purdy is officially out. Ricky Pearsall is officially out. DeAndre Swift is going to be good to go. Kareem Hunt gets in a limited practice on Friday. If you end up having Kareem Hunt play, it means Isaiah Pacheco's a little bit less interesting. Now, our next one will be A.J. Brown listed out. So the big thing here is, if you are looking at Devonta Smith, I have gone ahead and moved him inside my top 12 wide receivers for this week. I think that he is going to be a must-start name. That's obvious. But also something that's going to change for me is I'm going to be including Dallas Goedert in those risers, where Dallas Goedert is somebody that you actually can look at as somebody that is a top 5 tight end in my rankings, at least for this week. And then also is in flex consideration for a lot of people dealing with some horrible buys. Then going over and looking at our next one, we have Matthew Golden listed as questionable for week 8. Dontavian Wicks listed out for week 8. I actually need to go over on flockfantasy.com, remove Dontavian Wicks from the rankings. I mean, obviously you weren't starting the dude kind of anyway. Christian Watson officially questionable. They told us early in the week that he is going to play. I would expect that to be the case, but realistically, I mean, you're not going to go through and you're not going to play him anyway. And I don't think he really impacts Matthew Golden or Romeo Doubs his first week back in. DJ Moore not listed on the injury report for week 8 either. Like I said, I just traded for Rome Odunze, so I was kind of hoping that he was going to be out. But Cole Kmet is listed as out. And for this, I actually do think that you need to, one, consider rostering Colston Loveland. I'm going to move Loveland up my rest of season rankings because realistically, this is now a tight end in which you can come through and you can say, well, he has the upside to turn into a top 10 tight end in fantasy. That is in his range of outcomes. Like if I had Mark Andrews, I'm dropping him for Loveland. And then also this week, he is somewhat interesting of a play. Obviously with Kmet being out, this is going to be a team that has to throw the ball a decent amount when they are trailing to the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see. Is there anything else that is relevant? Darius Slayton's going to play. Don't play him. Olave not on the injury report, good to go. Tyler Algier is going to be good to go. Don't worry about it. And actually, I saw something that's really funny on Underdog when I was looking at the projections earlier. If y'all have seen how bad Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt projects in an offense that has Debo and Terry playing but doesn't have Jaden Daniels, and obviously it's a really tough matchup that you have for him. But right now, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I believe, actually projects out worse than Tyler Algier. Let me see if I can double check this. But Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt at the moment is higher or lower 7.85 fantasy points. Whereas last I checked, Tyler Algier was higher than this. Yeah, Tyler Algier higher or lower 7.95. So if anybody here was planning on starting Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I would reevaluate that thought. Am I going to tell you to play Tyler Algier over him? No, but I don't know. We're not going to lose our mind here with this entirely, but I would strongly advise avoiding him if you can. Now, Calvin Ridley ruled out for week 8. Not playing any Tennessee Titans wide receivers. They're just simply not good enough. Tyler Huntley going to start if Lamar can't play. Lamar is going to play. Don't worry about it. He got in a full practice today. David Njoku questionable. If Njoku plays, then all of a sudden you're going to be less excited to play Harold Fannin. Andy Dalton going to play. Josh Downs going to play. So I think that should be it for all the updates that we have to make. So let's go ahead. Let's dive into some of these teams that we need to talk about. And I'll, of course, remind y'all that I'm going to be live streaming on Saturday, on Sunday, answering fantasy football questions, giving you injury updates. I do that every single day, and I will all the way until Christmas. So if you wanted to go through and check out any of those pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, the link is always in the live chat. It's always in the description. It's always in the comment section. If you use code FLOCK, you are actually going to get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. This is currently the best offer you're going to find in the industry. And on top of that, you'll actually get a free Jordan Love pick, higher or lower, half a total yard, which maybe you need to reevaluate with Dontavian Wicks missing. But these promos are the reason that Underdog Fantasy is the #1 sports app in the App Store at the moment. And again, code FLOCK will get you access to those promos. And on top of that, you'll actually be able to get free questions that you can ask in these live streams. And I'm live streaming every single day until Christmas, answering your free questions. But let's go ahead. Let's send Tommy some free questions here. My friend, I'm sorry for having to make you wait, but I am excited to take a look at your team now. Here you're saying, I have been a little unlucky this year facing high scoring opponents. I feel as though my team is solid, but just not getting wins. Do you recommend any moves/trades, or should I sit tight and trust the squad? Thank you very much. Thank you, my friend. We are currently the #1 team, according to the League Analyzer, in terms of value. We've lost 4 games straight. In terms of actual points scored, we are 7th in this league out of 12 people. We are second to last in terms of points against. So I'm in 100% agreement. We can just tell right before we even look at anything with your team that you have just been very unlucky with tough matchups this year. Now, some people would say you need to play better defense, my friend, but others may say that you've been unlucky. Now, looking at the actual league settings, it's a 12-team start 8 format. So a 12-team start 8 league. This is going to be one in which you actually do need to consider the depth of your roster here. It's not so much just going to be about how do we get the best players at the very top end. No, like actually having a viable wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 will make sense because they will be guys that are going into your flexes. Now, looking at what we have at quarterback, we have Mahomes and Jackson Dart. There's no world in which you are ever starting Jackson Dart over Mahomes. Now, you do have the Mahomes bye week in week 10. So I understand if you were wanting to roster Dart and just say like, oh, okay, we'll just play him when Patrick Mahomes is out. Looking at the waiver wire, you have guys like Fields, Stroud, Michael Penix, Geno Smith. So not super compelling names. So, I mean, I understand where you're coming from with this. I would say, though, I mean, if you could sell Jackson Dart for any upgrade inside your starting lineup, where if you could send Jackson Dart and Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt to get a better running back, we would. Now, looking at what we have at RB, we are sitting with Jahmyr Gibbs, Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt, Woody Marks, as well as RJ Harvey. Realistically, like, I think I actually am going to move Woody Marks ahead of Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt in our rest of season rankings. Because if you look at Woody Marks, he's already gone through the bye. He's just a much better receiving back. And like, I mean, I would definitely start Woody Marks over him this week. I'm getting very nervous with Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt. It's not so much that I think you need to move Woody Marks up our rest of season ranks. I think it's more so I want to move Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt down. Touchdown or bust running back with literally nothing as a receiver. And we haven't seen much when it comes to the big play upside yet. Looking at wide receiver, we have Chase, Rice. So 2 locked and loaded wide receiver 1s every single week. Deebo Samuel, Travis Hunter, compelling flexes. Wan'Dale Robinson, obviously we can get in the flex in a league like this whenever you have the bye week for Travis Hunter. So completely fine. And then tight end, we have Bowers and Gadsden. So realistically, what I would look to do, if possible, I would try to see what we could get for Gadsden coming off an incredible performance in back-to-back games. Over the past 2 weeks, he is averaging almost 25 points per game. Over the past 3 weeks, he is averaging almost 100 receiving yards per game, and he's had a receiving touchdown in back-to-back contests. So he's been incredible. But realistically, I may want to go through, and if we get practice reports that Brock Bowers is good to go next week, then all of a sudden you could potentially find yourself in a spot where we could send the combination of Gadsden and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Gadsden and Woody Marks to go over and get a running back that we're really excited to start weekly. That would be the thing that I'm looking at with this team. Realistically, based off your league settings, I'm not wanting to sell any wide receiver depth. If nobody's interested in buying Gadsden, I would then instead look to sell Brock Bowers, because you could probably start Gadsden every week going into the future. But based off what I'm seeing in the YouTube comment section, based off what I'm seeing in the live chats as of late, it does seem like you're actually going to have an easier time selling Gadsden and getting a respectable price than you would selling Brock Bowers. So I think that would be the trade. And in terms of any waiver wire pivots you want to make, if Kareem Hunt's active this next week, I realistically probably would just cut Brashad Smith and pick up Bam Knight. But I think that's all I have for you. I really appreciate you, my friend. I really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this. I'm going to make sure, you got those free questions over in your account. So if there's anything that you want me to take a look at, I'd be super happy to peep it for you. But thank you again, my guy, and really do appreciate you. Now let's move this over to Max. Is saying, been following since 2021, much love. Won twice in 4 years, playing second, third, and fifth ranked teams in the next 3 weeks. It's a 16 playoffs. Rank the trades, Judkins and Jefferson for CMC. I like it. Judkins and Olave for James Cook or Garrett Wilson. I love it. I would make either one of those deals. I would kind of be fine with either. If you have plenty of depth, we're looking at the McCaffrey one. If depth is maybe a little bit of an issue for us, I'd be looking at the other trade. Also, should we trade Worthy for Marvin Harrison Jr.? I would rather have Harrison over Worthy rest of season, but it's not that big of a gap. And I am viewing RJ Harvey just kind of like Tyler Algier, where you're never really starting him outside of an injury to the guy ahead of him. But I do think he could be a league winner if you were to get an injury to J.K. Dobbins. We have 2 empty slots for waivers, iffy on Garrett because the offense completely understand that. I will say we are currently 5-2, right? So we have the luxury where we can think long-term. We are a top 3 team in terms of points scored. We are, according to the league analyzer, currently the second most valuable team in this league. It's a league in which you can start up to 4 wide receivers weekly. So the wide receiver depth is actually going to be relevant here for your team. We have the elite level quarterback with Josh Allen. Going over and looking at running back, we have Quinshawn, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Zach Charbonnet, RJ Harvey. So realistically, our biggest need would actually be the second running back slot. Wide receiver, we have 5 startable names with Xavier Worthy as your wide receiver 5. And then we have the top end tight end with George Kittle. And I'm not really concerned about George Kittle here whatsoever. I think Kittle's going to be just fine. If you still have a couple open roster spots, I would cut Isaiah Davis and I would pick up Michael Carter and I would cut if you had open roster spots, you don't need to cut anybody. If you had open roster spots, just pick up Michael Carter and buy Shell Tootin. If you don't have any more open roster spots, I would cut Isaiah Davis and I would cut Brashad Smith for Michael Carter and Tootin. I guess the only world in which you're not really wanting to do this is if you were to get a trade to Breece Hall, then obviously Isaiah Davis is more intriguing. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you would still be looking at Isaiah Davis and the Jets offense. Don't get me wrong. No Breece Hall. He's very viable because of the receiving usage. Okay. But I love your team. And realistically, even though this is a league where depth is going to matter, I very much think you can afford either deal here. Whether you want to go out there and get McCaffrey, you can go get CMC. whether you want to go make the deal in which we're going to be picking up the combination of James Cook and Garrett Wilson. If I would really like that one as well. And maybe something that you could explore is, if you don't love Garrett Wilson, is there a world in which you can just send Quinshawn and Olave for James Cook? But regardless, you have that expendable wide receiver where you can go through and you can't afford to make that move. For that reason, I would. And yeah, I love your team. I think those would be the two running backs that I'd be interested in off the waiver wire if we were looking at guys. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my friend. But in reality, I don't really think you need much help with this team. And I would love either trade. Now, let's move this over to Romy. Romy, I'm going to have to actually pull up a screenshot of your team, so just give me 1 second. And as I do that, I will stall by reminding you that if you have not done so already, every time we hit 100 likes of the stream, we send out free questions in the chat. So go ahead and drop a like on this live stream. But this is an MFL team. Absolutely love to see it. It's the same Mason, solid start, tied for first. Trade deadline's coming up, and I feel like I can make some moves to secure a title run. This is actually interesting for me to know because I need to know when we stop making the buy low, sell high videos. Can y'all please let me know in the live chats? If you know, if you've already looked, when is your trade deadline? My assumption is most people have their trade deadline the week of Thanksgiving, which is like, I think week 13, but let me know if it's before then. Anyway, this is going to be a league in which we are starting 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a single flex. So wide receiver depth here is going to matter a considerable amount. And it looks like, yeah, week 12, end of November. So that's what I thought. Most people are going to have their trade deadlines hitting about the same time as Thanksgiving, which is surprising that you're saying yours is coming up so soon. Maybe you're just exaggerating a bit here. But anyway, looking at what we have when it comes to quarterback, we are sitting with Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray. So Daniel Jones, Kyler. I mean, obviously we're starting Daniel Jones for the time being. I will say if it was a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, I would want us to go through and I'd want us to trade for a better quarterback. But because it's a league in which you start 3 wide receivers, the actual points inside your starting lineup that are coming from quarterback are going to make up a slightly smaller percentage. Now, looking at what we have when it comes to running back, we're starting Saquon and Ramondre Stevenson. Depth here isn't the greatest, but again, this is a spot more so that running back depth maybe is not the highest priority and wide receivers more so important. Looking at wide receiver, we have Chase, Flowers, Quentin Johnston, Rome Odunze. So we don't have a ton of wide receiver depth either. We have, I mean, maybe include Matthew Golden as startable, but Quentin Johnston doesn't look like he's startable anytime soon. So we have like 4 startable wide receivers and we need them. And then tight end, we have Waller, Schultz, Otten, Michael Mayer, and Hunter Henry. So here's the thing I'm doing with your team. You don't have any expendable value to make a trade. I am very sorry about this. But you know what I'm going to do here? I think you just make waiver wire pickups. I think you got to optimize the bottom end of your bench. That way we can hopefully find the next Rico Dowdle, find the next Rashad White. And I think the biggest issue that we have with this team as of right now is the fact that we are rostering Cade Otton, Dalton Schultz, Darren Waller, Michael Mayer, and Hunter Henry. Here's what you can do. You can roster Hunter Henry and then pick your favorite tight end between Cade Otton and Dalton Schultz. Then you drop, at the very minimum, 2 of the other guys. I don't know if Darren Waller's on your IR, and If he is, then obviously we can't drop him to pick up an extra roster spot. But if Darren Waller isn't on your IR, then what I would look to do at that point is I would go ahead and I would actually be cutting Darren Waller and opening up a third roster spot for us. Then you go over and find your 3 favorite running backs off waivers, pick up those 3 names, whether they're guys like Rashad Smith, Isaiah Davis. Frankly, it doesn't really matter. They're going to give us more upside than having a 5th tight end will. So I would go ahead and I would just churn the bottom ends of this team when it comes to the bench. But I think that's all I have for you. I really appreciate you and really hope that I was able to help you out in any way possible here, my friend. But yeah, I think the move you want to make on that team is more so centered around the waiver wire than actual trades. But Westy is going to be our next team, but it does look like we had 100 likes on the stream, so we need to go ahead and send out a free question in the chat. So again, if y'all want to win a free question, stupid simple, just drop a like on the stream and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat so I know to send that free question too. But Westy says 1-6 through week 7. Half my team has been injured all season, but trades have been hard to come by since no one wanted injured players. Now that my team is starting to get healthy, do I need to make any moves to avoid the last place punishment? Mother flocker for life. Here's the thing, my friend. If you are 1-6, I mean, I know you, never mind. You already said, I was going to say, you know, my gut reaction is to come through and say, like, you should have traded the injured players. We should have gone through and we should have tried sending away CeeDee Lamb. But if you're telling us that none of your league mates wanted Lamb, they didn't want Bowers, they wouldn't trade for an injured name at a discount, then it is what it is. Here's the hope and the prayer that we have to have. The hope and the prayer that we have to have is that this league isn't just worst record, lowest points scored, bottom of the league standings at the end of the year is the one that is last place and gets the punishment. Because if so, that's you right now. I would hope that there's like a toilet bowl, and if you win in the toilet bowl, then you're avoided from the last place punishment. That's how we do it in the Flock League. And if that's the case for you, you're chilling. But if not, you're in a world of pain because we're still not over the injuries. But real quick, let me send out a free question. We're going to send this to Mason is a cabbage patch. Blada, blada, blada. Couple numbers here. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream, my friend. And let me see if I can find you on the site. And if I can, I'll be happy to go ahead and send you over a free question. Mason is a cabbage patch. I don't know if you use code FLOCK when you signed up or if you're just trolling with that name, but I cannot find you on the site. If you don't have a code on your account, you can add it on your account page. That way, if you win something next time, I can send you over a free question. But I just found Merchant 2K, and I'm going to go ahead and send you over a free start sit question. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream, my friend. But anyway, going back over to this, you're kind of in a world of pain at the moment because we now have the A.J. Brown injury. So your starting lineup in a Start 8 league, we have Lamar at quarterback, Derrick Henry, Woody Marks at running back. Wide receiver, we have Lamb, not A.J. Brown, we have Lamb, Worthy. And then in the 2 flexes, we're currently starting Bam Knight and Alec Pierce, and we had Gadsden at tight end. So you already know what I'm going to say here. If we're 1-6, we are needing to win right now. And in that case, what I would be looking to do is I would try to sell a Ricky Pearsall at a discount. I would try to sell A.J. Brown at a discount. I would try to make one of these trades just to make sure that we can just stay in it at the very minimum. And is there anything else that you could do with this other than selling one of the injured wide receivers? I mean, I guess the other thing that you could do is trying to sell Gadsden. After if your league mates are the kind of people that are never going to try to buy low on somebody, that they're just going to buy the player that's scoring points at the moment, not faulting them for that at all. But if that's who they are, then maybe you're just going to have to get Brock Bowers from the bye week, back from the bye week, confirm that he is healthy in week 9. And if so, then take Gadsden and send him with A.J. Brown to go get any usable wide receiver that we can that has wide receiver 1 upside. Send Gadsden and Ricky Pearsall in that instance to go get a startable wide receiver, because you do need to focus in on winning right now. So, I mean, right today, I would try to sell A.J. Brown. Today, I would try to sell Ricky Pearsall and get usable names in. But again, if you're not able to, then I think you wait until we end up getting Bowers back from the bye. Then in week 9, we sell Gadsden. If our league mates are more so just interested in buying players that are actually going to, that are actually producing right now. But I think that's all I got for you. Again, I really appreciate you, my friend. I'm going to go ahead and send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you want us to follow up with. But yeah, again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock, my guy. Okay. Now, let's move this over to our next question. This is going to be from Jonathan. Says, bad luck start to the year. Made some big trades, comeback season in progress. Should I keep trying to upgrade running back 2 or stick with it this league? As a 2-player keeper, thinking of keeping Lamb and Chase, FY, no lost draft picks, with keepers also ready to be in the flock league next year as the fan. Appreciate you guys. Hey, you better send in an audition tape to be the fan next year, my friend. I really appreciate you. I'm going to be excited to go ahead and check this out. So I will say here, if it's a 2-player keeper, then there's no world in which I'm ever thinking long-term value. If it's a 2-player keeper, you are always going to have 2 guys that we are willing to keep. You'll always have 2 players that are interesting. So there's never any time in which I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go through and let's throw in the towel on this season and let's sell some of these assets for future picks or for a better keeper next year. I guess maybe if you're 1-8 and as soon as you're like actually eliminated from the playoff hunt, then sure you can, but this isn't a dynasty league. This isn't a league in which we are wanting to try to look at teams through a rebuilding or a contending lens. No, you're always going to have 2 players that you can keep. And for that reason, I'm very much going to just try to make sure that we are always in it. Now, we are currently the number 1 team in the league in terms of value. We are 3-4. We've scored 944 points. We're the 4th highest scoring team so far this season. So if anything, we've gotten unlucky with matchups. And also, we've gotten unlucky with injuries, but the team's damn good now. Like we said, the league analyzer has us as by far and away the best team in this league. It's a team in which you can start up to 4 wide receivers weekly. So the depth here is going to matter a considerable amount. Here we have Dak Prescott, a quarterback. I mean, Dak Prescott is somebody that we can start every week with confidence. Not really hesitating to say that here either. We have Caleb Williams just in case Dak does regress. So we're in a really good spot here. Going over to what we have with running back, we are sitting with the combination of Devon Achane, locked and loaded RB1, start every single week. If Breece Hall is my running back 1, I'd be terrified, but we're okay with Breece Hall as our RB2. And then we have quality depth with the Carolina Panthers guys as well. So running back, and we have Woody Marks. Like running back, we are completely fine. We are A-okay here. Going over to what we have at wide receiver, we are currently sitting with CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver 1. I'm sorry. Jamar Chase, wide receiver 2. Rome Odunze wide receiver 3, Waddle wide receiver 4. So this is a league where we can start 4 wide receivers weekly. Feel great about that. And then we have the elite tight end with Tyler Warren. What could we possibly do here? Maybe we could look at the waiver wire. Like, realistically, Darnell Mooney doesn't look startable. Darnell Mooney hasn't done anything all year. Has yet to crack 10 fantasy points. I know he's been injured, but like, if you wanted to pivot over, I'd rather have Trey Tucker than Darnell Mooney at this point. Is there anything else that we could do? I mean, I think that there are interesting running backs as well. Like, there's nothing for your team to possibly do. Like, if you go through and you trade for an upgrade over Brees, then all of us, like, if you sell Rome and Brees to go get a, actually, maybe you can now that I think about it, because we have the other running back depth pieces. Because I guess if you trade like Rome and Brees to try to get to an exciting running back, like, you could put Rico Dowdle in the flex, right? Because technically you have like 4 startable running backs and 4 startable wide receivers. So even though this is a league in which depth does matter, if you can find a team that needs that additional depth and needs players that to put in their starting lineup, let's go through and see if anybody's starting disgusting options here in the short term. The teams with losing records are probably going to be a little bit more desperate. Like this team right now with Marv on bye, their starting lineup consists of James Cook, Derrick Henry, Chris Olave, Josh Downs, Tez Johnson, and then Hollywood Brown. That's who they're starting. Is there a world in which you can send the combination of like Breece Hall, Jalen Waddle, and get to James Cook? I mean, hell, even if you had to go Breece Hall and Rome Odunze to get to James Cook, I think that'd be interesting as well. Going over looking at this squad, they have, like, I guess Isaiah Pacheco, Kamani Vidal in their starting lineup this week. Is there a way you could get to Jefferson by selling like Rico Dowdle and Rome Odunze to try to get that up tier? This team has enough depth where they're fine with their starting lineup. This team this week is starting the combination of Jerry Jeudy and Marvin Mims, or I guess they're putting Jonnu Smith in their flex. No idea what the hell they're doing. Is there a Godfather type offer that we can get to McCaffrey? I mean, if we could possibly go like Rome and Achan for CMC. Be a no-brainer if we could, and that team needs the depth. This team's currently starting the combination of RJ Harvey and Kenneth Gainwell. Can you send them Breece Hall and Rome and get to Puka? Like, I guess you actually have the depth where it does make sense. If you can find a desperate enough team to be willing to go out there and send you a top-end stud for those 2 startable assets, we would. But again, it is just going to be much easier said than done. But I really appreciate you, my friend. I did send you over those free questions. So if there's anything that you want to follow up with, I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you. But again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock, my guy. But yeah, great team. Now, Jay Weeble says, just wondering if there's anything I should do with this roster. Hoping Henry has a good week so we can sell him and trying to upgrade to a better wide receiver. What do you think? So it's going to be a dynasty team. We are currently the #1 team in terms of dynasty value. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. My dynasty rankings aren't 100% up to date. We are currently the 4th team in the league standings right now. So we are definitely a contending roster. It is a 1 quarterback dynasty league, which is going to be very relevant here. So we have Josh Allen, Michael Penix, Matthew Stafford. I mean, if there was any world in which you could sell Michael Penix or Matthew Stafford for any marginal upgrade anywhere, I'm sure that we would. But again, much easier said than done. A 10-team dynasty league, nobody's going to buy those guys. But we're chilling at quarterback. We have Josh Allen, who we can start with confidence. Then going over and looking at what we have with running back, we are currently rolling with Devon Achane as our RB1. We have Derrick Henry as somebody that's startable this year. You sell Derrick Henry, it commits us. You sell Derrick Henry for a wide receiver upgrade, it commits us to a rebuild. And I hate that idea. The reason being, we go ahead and we look at your future picks. Well, yeah, we do have a 2026 first. It's not ours. We have somebody else's 2026 first. So we are not incentivized in any way whatsoever to go through and sell Derrick Henry and have a worse team this year to pick up long-term value. Like, you're not going to get a better rookie pick by making that move because, again, like, we don't even have our own future first. Wide receiver, we have Tedero McMillan, Nico, Brian Thomas, Hunter, Addison, Matthew Golden. Start 9 formats, so reasonably we can start 5 wide receivers here weekly. We have Kraft, Bowers at tight end, so we're telling. I hate the idea of selling Derrick Henry with this team. I mean, if you wanted to pivot over to rebuild, I get it, but not only would you be selling Derrick Henry, but you'd also be selling Nico Collins, and then building around Tet, Brian Thomas, Hunter, Addison, Golden, RJ Harvey, and then Achane. But your team's good enough to contend this season. But for us to contend, you really do need Derrick Henry to produce. And like, selling Derrick Henry for a wide receiver would put you in a position where you don't really have a shot to win this year. I hate the idea of you making almost any move with this. I mean, if anything, I would go about this the other direction. I would go through and I would actually try to sell the long-term value of RJ Harvey to get a veteran RB in here from a team that is looking to rebuild. Can we look at the worst teams in this league right now in points for? This team right now is the worst team in the league in points for. Is there a world in which we can send them RJ Harvey and get back the combination of like Kamara, Pacheco, and Devontae Adams and have the depth? Like, realistically, in Dynasty, I would rather have RJ Harvey over Kamara and Devontae Adams this offseason. But if it's going to help us win the league this year, that's a pivot that you could look to make. Going back over and looking at the next lowest scoring team. This team is 2-5. If I were them, I'd be pivoting over to a rebuild. If you could go through and if you could try to send the combination of like RJ Harvey and there's no way that's going to get you there. It's going to see if there's a way to get to Barkley. I would offer them RJ Harvey, Jack Besh, and you know what? You could possibly just trade Matthew Golden and RJ Harvey for Barkley. And then what else could we possibly do with this? Yeah, I would just go the opposite direction. Instead of selling Derrick Henry for long-term value with your setup, with your record, with us not having our own future first, instead of having somebody else's, I would be pushing in to try to win now. And by us pushing in to try to win now, I think what you're probably going to look to do is, rather than selling Derrick Henry to a contender, I would be looking to sell RJ Harvey to a rebuilder. But I appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my friend. Now let's move this to our next question. This is Jennv Voodoo says, hey Mason, 4-3 right now and looking ahead to the playoffs. Currently we have 2 quarterbacks, but can't seem to trade one for an upgrade at running back. Looking for any help as the running back room's looking pretty thin with Rachaad White being worthless once Bucky comes back from the bye. Okay, so we are currently the number 2 team in the league analyzer. Oh, yeah, this is brutal. And the league analyzer is juicing our value a ton at quarterback, and we just can't get all the quarterbacks in our lineup. And especially knowing it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, so we can only start 3 wide receivers at the very most. And you go ahead and look at our wide receiver room, and we just have so many bench names on top of this. Like, I would, obviously, you already know. Here's what we're wanting to do. We are wanting to sell wide receiver depth. We are wanting to sell one of the quarterbacks, and we are wanting to get running back help. Like Marvin Harrison, Travis Hunter are wide receivers 3 and 4 on the bench. These look to be startable names with upside in the long term. So, like, if possible, if you could go through and sell Rome Odunze and Chase Brown and go get yourself a great running back, I mean, we're for sure looking to do so. It's just going to be much easier said than done. And then obviously what we would want to do is we would love to try to send a quarterback with Chase Brown to go get that RB upgrade, or Josh Allen and Rachaad White to go get a better RB. But if you're telling us that none of our league mates are interested in trading for a quarterback, that just puts us in a brutal spot. And realistically, like, I will say, if you've exhausted your resources, if you've gone through and approached every single league mate that you have, every week over the past 3 weeks, trying to get a deal done where we send them one of Josh Allen or Mahomes with no regards of who we're selling, right? Just we'll sell either one of these players, just somebody take them off our hands. And we've been turned down every single week. You may just have to slash your price by 50%. Which absolutely sucks. Okay. And then in terms of waiver wire moves to make, if we have Tyler Warren and David Njoku's officially back, There's a world in which I would consider us going through and dropping Harold Fannin and picking up Byshell Tootin. Actually, it's probably not something that you need to do until after the Jags bye, because obviously we're not really seeing Tootin gain value exponentially outside of an ETN injury. Not going to get injured on his bye week. Okay. So again, the clear move is you take one of your wide receivers. I don't think anybody's trading for Marv. I'm not sure you're going to get a ton of value for Hunter. And you sell him with the running back to get an RB upgrade, or obviously we're going to try to sell a quarterback. But those are your only plays. Like if your league mates aren't playing ball with you, there's what's the alternative? Again, if you've done everything that you can, you may just need to go through and sell the quarterback at a discount. But I really appreciate you and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way here. And again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock, my guy. Now, let's move this over to our next one. That's going to be other threads. Says 2 and 5. Please take a look at the other teams in the league. Try to find any trade ideas. I believe I could make something work with most of them. Well, first, let's focus in on our team and see what we need. So it's a 10-team league in which we can go ahead and we can start 4 wide receivers weekly if need be. Like the depth here is going to matter somewhat. Okay. I will say the number one thing that you should be doing with this team is we should be playing the waiver wire. Right now, I understand that he's on bye. It just frankly doesn't matter. Drop Bam Knight and pick up Travis Hunter. That's something that you just absolutely need to do. And I would put Godwin on your watch list. And I do think, honestly, there's a world in which you could go through and you could talk me into dropping Harold Fannin and picking up Chris Godwin as well. But since Godwin's not playing this week, that's not necessarily something that you're needing to do right now. Then going over and looking at what we have at quarterback, we have Bo Nix. If we could upgrade quarterback, I would. It's a 10-team format, so having Bo Nix, going to be no bueno. Running back, we have Bijan, Judkins, ETN, Sharps, Henderson. Like, I would love to tell you, like, oh, let's take the long-term upside that we get with the rookie running back in Trevion Henderson and try to make a 2-for-1 deal and go get an upgrade somewhere else. But much easier said than done. Wide receiver, we have Pickens, Sutton, Nico. 3 startable names, but we have Nico. So here's what just happened in the Flock League. The 3 and 4 team Sammy that was needing a win this week, they sold Nico Collins to get players inside their starting lineup. And if you're 2 and 5, you may need to look at doing the same thing. If you could take Nico Collins and pair him with Bo Nix and go over and get yourself a top-end quarterback, I 100% would look to do so. If you could go like Bo Nix, Nico Collins, Trevion Henderson, and somehow, some way get yourself to Lamar, we would. Now, of course, much, much easier said than done. And then tight end Kyle Pitts, we're chilling with. So first step, cut Bam Knight, pick up Travis Hunter. Second step, add Chris Godwin to your watch list, possibly drop Harold Fannin for him. Third thing is, I would consider going through and looking to sell Nico Collins and just getting either players inside your starting lineup right now or an upgrade inside your starting lineup right now. Because again, very much you are going to need to make that play. One thing that we can do is look at the teams in your league that have the best quarterback rooms. This team has Josh Allen and Drake May. They have plenty of wide receiver depth as well. One thing you could try to do is, can we send them Bo Nix and Nico Collins and get back like Drake May and DK Metcalf, a wide receiver that we can start now already through his bye. This team is Mahomes and Caleb. Maybe we try to send them Nico Collins and get to Rome Odunze, a wide receiver already through his bye. This team is Lamar and Dart. Again, maybe we can send them Nico, Henderson, and Bo Nix and get to Lamar if they're excited about Dart rest of season. This team is Hurts and Purdy. Maybe we can go through and make that deal for Hurts. But I think those are your options, but it all starts with us needing to go through and drop Bam Knight for Travis Hunter. But I would go out there and I'd spam 6-7 owners in your league and hope that you can pull off one of those deals. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my friend. Now let's move this over to our next question. And it does look like we just hit 200 likes on the stream. So let's go ahead and let's send out some free questions in the chat. If y'all want to get free questions, stupid simple. All you got to do is go ahead and drop a like on the live stream to qualify. And then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. That way, if you win the free question, I know who to go ahead and send it over to. Okay. But let's send this to Pot Pie Guy. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream, my friends. And let's send this over. I will say, I'm also a pot pie guy myself. I don't know if you've had the Marie Callender chicken pot pie, but I would go to war for it. Just sent you over that free start set question again. Really appreciate you hanging out with us. Now, Chase Hunt, longtime member of the flock here, says, sorry you lost this week. I'm hoping to pull a Badaki against the number 1 team this week. Well, good luck, my friend. 14-team league. So typically 14-team league, you are just going to have some garbage teams because if you see injuries, it's much tougher to backfill. We are currently the number... Okay. All right. We are the number 3 team in this league with the league analyzer. You are in a really good spot. We've scored the 4th most points in a 14-team league, so we are A-okay. Now, I want to say this is a 1 QB league, no? I'm going to assume that this is a 1 quarterback format. And yeah. So, under the assumption that this is a 1 QB league, I don't know if I love the idea of rostering these 3 quarterbacks. I get it. 14-teamer. Options on the waiver wire are going to be worse. But still. Like, rostering 3 QBs and 3 tight ends is tough. Like, operating under the assumption you only need to start 1 quarterback and you only need to start 1 tight end. I think the first thing that I would do is I would cut Theo Johnson and I would pick up Emmanuel Wilson or Brashad Smith as the handcuff running backs in their offenses. And then if you wanted to... Oh, Curl says, I've got Marie Callender's chicken pot pies in my oven right now. Here's how you know... Okay, let me... If y'all know Marie Callender's chicken pot pies, you know what I'm saying. But here's how you know that you have your life together. You have time and you are good enough at planning to use the oven to cook your Marie Callender chicken pot pies. Sadly, your boy never has them in the oven. My squirrel brain, tiny attention, not that smart. I tell myself like, oh, you're going to get a Marie Callender chicken pot pie and I can't wait another second. So I throw it in the microwave. I don't have the patience to put it in the oven. So you're just flexing on us here, my friend. You got your stuff together. Now, anyway, going back over to this Chase Hunt. I apologize for the detour. Running back, we have Henry, Etienne, Chase Brown. 14-team league. This is a great running back room. It's a league in which you only start 2 receivers in a flex. So the depth at running back, wide receiver, not going to be super important. And then here at wide receiver, we have Puka, Flowers, Addison, and Worthy. So I love the team. I think a big thing with this team is you just got to get Puka Nacua back in. And then arguably you maybe have the best team in this league. in a 14-teamer in particular. I would not tell you that if it was a 10-team league. 10-team league, this wouldn't be that great. 14-team league, it is. Obviously much easier said than done. Here's the issue with your quarterbacks. None of them are good enough where nobody's going to trade for them. Like I would try to go and send like Matthew Stafford for like a Tyler Algier level handcuff running backs. Obviously Rashad White, you're not going to get because he is starting right now, but running backs of that ilk, right? Where we can say if the starter were to go down in front of them, we know that they're going to win us our league. I would try to send one of the quarterbacks for a running back like that. I know you're not going to get a ton, but just a handcuff running back would be nice because obviously the running backs in the waiver wire right now aren't super compelling. And then in terms of like major trades, there are none. It's a 14-team league where we have a top 14 running back. We got the number one wide receiver. We have quality depth at RB2, RB3, at wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. So I would probably go ahead, cut Theo Johnson, pick up a running back like Emmanuel Wilson, try to trade Stafford, pick up trade Stafford, pick up a running back like Tyler Algier. And then I love your team, but I really appreciate, I wish I had more for you, my friend. I'm definitely rooting for you. Let me send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you want to follow up with. I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you. And again, I'm really sorry that I don't have much to say. Now let's move this over to that Morris kid, who's a longtime member of the flock. This is old Greg, the 5-time champ. 5-2, gonna be hit hard with buys the next couple weeks. Been considering packaging some guys to up tier, but not sure if I should do that or just hold tight given how shallow my depth is. Looking to collect some more infinity stones for the roster. Any thoughts? Much love as always. You know I appreciate you, my guy. And every single year without fail, and every single time you send this in without fail, we know we're the number one team in the league. 5-2. Doesn't matter about the bye weeks in the next few weeks. We are a playoff team. And according to the league analyzer, we have the best team in this league. Now, it is a double flex format, so the depth is going to matter a decent bit. Quarterback, we have Hurts, Jackson, Dart. Jalen Hurts is going to be on bye, so realistically, I understand us wanting to hold on to Jackson Dart. Not really much to discuss here. Going over to what we have at running back, we have Barkley. So being 5-2 with Saquon Barkley is impressive. Like, maybe I'm biased because I'm also 5-2 with Saquon Barkley. But Barkley has not been good for us so far this season. Barkley's been actually horrible. But I do think that Saquon Barkley is going to be much better going into the future. Now we have Breece Hall, RB2, Woody Marks, RB3. So running back's going to be our weak spot. Wide receiver, we have Puka, Chase, Flowers. So here's how we are winning games. Here is how we are 5-2. We have 2 elite level wide receivers, and Zay Flowers is going to be much better now that we have Lamar back in. And then tight end, we have Ferg, who's obviously been performing quite well. Here's what I would do. Actually, Jake Ferg has, I want to say, the bye week in week 10, right? So never mind. You're not going to be able to go through and you're not going to be able to drop Hawkinson. What can you do? DJ Moore is healthy. I would probably cut Luther Burden for Michael Carter. And obviously, I'm assuming that James Conner's on your IR. Let me see. Are there any interesting IR players on your waiver wire? Not that I see. But I would cut Luther Burden. I'd pick up Michael Carter. And I know you're talking about collecting Infinity Stones, collecting these elite level names. Here's the thing. I think you're done collecting the elite level names. Because realistically, the depth on our team is actually the quote-unquote issue if there is one. Now, again, I'm not going to spaz about it, right? We are currently sitting with the #1 team in our league. So it's not like you need to go out there and panic and make a trade where we sell our best player, we sell Puka Nacua to get 2 options inside our starting lineup all of a sudden. Like, we definitely don't need to do that. But I don't think you can sell any additional depth at this point. Like, you for sure need to hold on to the little depth that we have to get through these buys. And when you're in that scenario in which we've kind of built out a studs and duds roster, then I think you are just going over and you're going into the mode in which we are just going to be making waiver wire pivots and optimizing the bottom end of our bench to try to find the next Rashad White, try to find the next Rico Dowdle. I don't see anything else that you would need to do with this team. And you don't have like that much flag. Like, you have no valuable players on your bench that you could trade. Like, by all means, if you could trade Jackson Dart and get something of note in return, we would. By all means, if you could trade TJ Hawkinson and get something of note, like, we would, but it's just, you're not going to be able to. Once you get past the Jalen Hurts buy, once you get past the Jake Ferguson buy, I think you can make an argument to just straight up cut Dart, cut Hawkinson, and pick up a couple of those handcuffed running backs like Byshell Tuden and Tyrone Tracy. But I think that's all we got. I wish I had a trade for you, my friend, but I think you have the #1 team in this league with Puka Nacua, with Jamar Chase, with Saquon Barkley, with Jalen Hurts. Hell, if Breece Hall ends up getting dealt, then obviously we're going to crush. But I really appreciate you have those free questions over in your account as well. So if there's anything else that you want me to take a look at, I'd be super happy to for you, my friend. Okay. Now let's move this over to our next question. And this is going to be from Gavin. Got to do 2 things. 1, let the princess in this room. Miley. Come on. Come on. Oh, I know. You're my good girl. Come on. Come in here. I know you're a good girl. I missed you. And 2, we got to refresh this so we can make sure that these custom links are still getting sent out and they don't go stale. But do you want to say hi to everyone? You go, hey, everyone. How are y'all doing? I was outside barking, making sure the neighbors didn't go to sleep yet, making sure the neighbors stayed up. It would have been bad if they fell asleep. It's only 9:30. We got to make sure that they stay up and they're ready to party. They got to stay awake so they can tune into the Flock Fantasy live stream, right? That's our business model. Put the dog outside, make sure she wakes up the neighbors to remind them that we're live streaming. Okay. But let's move this back over. Gavin, I believe, I'm not going to dox your last name here, but if it's 2 syllables and you filled out the form to get the hats, I believe I boxed up your hats and they should hopefully be shipped out tomorrow if the post office is open. But I went through and I think we filled out, I boxed up 160 hats today. They're getting sent out to 80 different people. Yes, Gavin, I see your name in the chat. Yes, your name's on that list and you have a couple hats coming your way. So essentially what we did is if you've been a long-time member of the flock or you're super active like Gavin is, you're getting more than 1 hat. So you should have 2 hats going in your direction, my friend. So we boxed up 160 hats, but where they're going to 80 people. But there also should be people that have already gotten their hats. I'm a little bit worried, to be honest, because I sent out like 160 packages last week as well, and have not heard anybody from me saying like, oh, I got a hat. So hopefully we're doing it right. Okay. But anyway, happy hump day. I feel like I need some serious running back help to make a run in my league. Should go to 4-4 after this week coming up. My opponent has 6 people on bye, including 4 starters. Thinking of maybe throwing Lamar out for a trade if he plays well this weekend. What are your thoughts? Thanks. Well, I will say first thing is, I know you're in the chat, so if there's anything that you want to follow up with, be super happy to take a look at it for you. And let's see. We are Irish car bombs. I think this is the drink, right? Whenever I lived in Tampa, and this is before I stopped drinking, the people that I would hang out with from CrossFit loved to go out and drink. I think they would do Irish car bombs, which is, I think it's like the Red Bull and then a shot. Could be wrong. But anyway, we have Lamar and Dak. So my plan A would be, let's try to sell Dak Prescott and Ja'Cory Cross-Camara in a 2-for-1 deal and go get the best player that we can. But again, that's going to be much easier said than done. Now, if instead we're on Lamar, we're going to sell Lamar. But I will say I would be charging a higher premium on Lamar over Dak, even if Dak Prescott's obviously been much better so far this season. Now, looking at what we have at running back, we are currently sitting with Kamara, Ja'Cory Cross-Camara, Isaiah Pacheco, and Jordan Mason, Kamani Vidal. Hopefully we played Kamani Vidal this week, but kind of regardless here, we are sitting with a garbage running back room, right? And, oh, is this live? No, it's not. Okay. One thing that we are going to be able to do soon is I'm going to be able to see all the trades that you've made in your league. Actually, let me see this. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, let me know. Did you start Kamani Vidal this week? Anyway, your running back room's garbage long term. This is going to be where we need to upgrade. Wide receiver, we have Lamb, Igbuka, Brian Thomas, Diggs. It's a league in which you can start 4 wide receivers weekly, so we like having this wide receiver depth. And then going over and looking at what we have with tight end, we have the combination of Sam Laporta and Gadsden. So the very clear move is, if possible, sell one of the quarterbacks in a deal with a running back, get an RB upgrade. Or to sell one of the tight ends, which is now possible because how well Gadsden just played, with one of the running backs, get an RB upgrade. Preferably, we make 2 of those deals. Is there anything else that we could possibly discuss with this team? After this week, I would probably go ahead. I would probably cut Tez Johnson and pick up Byshell Tootin. It's because if we are talking about top end ranges of outcomes, I think there's a world in which if ETN goes down, Byshell Tootin consistently projects out as a top 10 player in fantasy every week. And then, yeah, it just comes down to let's attack some of these teams that need help at quarterback. Teams that are worse than this league at quarterback. This team has Jared Goff and Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. If you could send them Lamar Jackson and Ja'Cory Cross-Camara and get the Josh Jacobs, we would love to do so. I'd offer for Gibbs, they would reject, and then my real offer would be for Jacobs. This team is Stafford and Penix. We're not going to get to CMC, and I would not do it for Warren. I don't even know if I'd trade Dak for Warren. This team is Baker. They probably don't want to make a deal. This team is Dart and Sam Darnold. If we could try to send Lamar and Ja'Cory Cross-Camara and get James Cook, I'd go for it. My first offer would be with Dak, and my real offer would be Lamar once they reject the Dak one. This team has May, so they're chilling as is. This team has Herbert and Fields. They have nothing at running back. I guess actually I'm an idiot. They have Kyron. But they just don't have a ton of depth. I mean, if you could try to send them like Dak Prescott, Ja'Cory Cross-Camara, and Isaiah Pacheco, give them the extra running back starter and give them the upgraded quarterback, maybe they'd be interested in that. Okay. And then obviously we'd be looking at similar moves with Gadsden / Laporta. This team is Kate Otten. They have Achane. There's any world in which you can send Laporta and Kamara to get Achane or Gadsden. And I value Gadsden and Laporta almost as the same at this point. So just whoever you can get more value from. If we could send one of the tight ends and Kamara to get to Javonte, or send one of the tight ends and Ja'Cory Cross-Camara to get to Genty, get to Camp Scattaboo. I think those are very clearly the moves, at least in my opinion. But I really appreciate you, my friend. And again, thank you so much. And you should have a couple hats on the way. Hopefully I can drop them off at the post office tomorrow. I'm definitely going to go to the post office tomorrow. I think they should be open on Saturdays. I know not all USPSs are open on Saturdays, but I think some of them are. The one near my house is a big one. So I think it will be. And if not, I'll drive to a different one. But appreciate you. I'll get that hat officially shipped out in your direction tomorrow. And again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock, my guy. Okay. Yes, Gavin, please, when you get them, and this goes for anybody that's getting hats, shoot me a message going, hey, Mason, I got a hat. Whether it's in the YouTube live chat, on Discord, or something. But make sure that I know that these hats are actually getting received to their owners. Because up until now, I've not heard anything. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and get to some of the quick questions. These are going to be the start sit. These are going to be the trade, et cetera, et cetera. So this is Cultivated Taro. It says Brees, Pickens, Vidal, Chase Brown, start, sit, help. I'm going to send you over a free start sit question. I don't know if you asked this in like the 3 minutes that we were done with the live stream before the Thursday night kickoff. Okay. So Brees, Pickens, Vidal, Chase Brown starts at help. Sorry, real quick. Fiance just texted me. It sounds pretty serious. Okay. I send you over a free start set so you can ask another question. I'm sorry, my friend. Realistically, I probably would have told you to go with, actually George Pickens would have been the guy easily for me. So hopefully you are benefited by me not seeing your question until now, because I would have told you to go Pickens, but hopefully you played Kamani Vidal. Now, A-Rod here trading Igbuka for Trey Benson and Drake London. Trey Benson's almost a zero for me. Igbuka's yet to go. I'd probably hold on to Igbuka. Like, here's the thing with Trey Benson. I have drafted him in so many underdog best ball drafts, so you better believe I hope he comes in and wins us some serious money. But he hasn't proven anything at the NFL level. It's not like he's going to come back in and then just walk right into this job absolutely guaranteed. Like, there is some uncertainty with it. So I think you take the better wide receiver for right now. Now, Gunna Boy says, offered Addison and a 2026 second. Wanted that top tier wide receiver to go with Lamb. Did I give up too much to make a run at the championship? I appreciate you, my friend. I'm going to send you over another free trade. I will say that if this was a dynasty league and it was a 2026 second round pick, this would be so easily Rashee Rice, it wouldn't even be remotely funny. But the way that you have this written out is I'm assuming that instead this is actually a redraft league where you're allowed to trade away future picks, which, side note, I absolutely hate that. I think if it's a redraft league, you shouldn't be allowed to trade your picks in the following year. But if those are the rules in your league, and that's what's going to let you win this, especially if it's a keeper format where that second round is going to be a little bit worse. Like, if it's going to help you win, it's going to help you win. And you know your league better than I do. But if it's one of those leagues where you can trade future picks, and it's a redraft format, why I don't like these league settings and why I think that this shouldn't be a thing is that there's a chance that if everybody does it, then your only shot ever to win the league is if you're willing to trade your future picks. Okay, now, Simongo trading Kamara, JCM, Puka for CMC, Igbuka, and ETN. So Kamara to ETN upgrade, Puka to McCaffrey upgrade, JSN to Igbuka downgrade. Here's the thing. If you were chasing long-term upside, there is probably more long-term upside with having the wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 overall. However, if you are more so interested in the short-term production, where you have a losing record, you're 2-5, and we don't have the 100% clarity that Puka Nacua is coming back after the bye week, then in that case, I'm completely fine with you going the McCaffrey side. So realistically, I think this is a fair deal, and I could see it working out for either person. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and mark both sides as the winner, and I'd be fine with either one. Okay. Now, Psychality here, running back. You play Josh Jacobs, wide receiver. You play Igbuka, tight end Tyler Warren, and then in the flex, between Rachaad White and Derrick Henry, it's close. I'd definitely play both running backs over Rome Odunze. I think you can go back and forth between these two players. Full PPR format, Rachaad White's going to give you a better receiving role. But again, you could ask me 100 times Rachaad White versus Derrick Henry, and I'll give you 50 answers both ways. Ditto, trading Brian Thomas and Ferg for Rashee Rice. Here, I think this is Rice easily, as long as you have another tight end. Numjet trading James Cook, Tedero, McMillan for Achane and Pearsall. James Cook to Achane, lateral move up to you. Slight upgrade. Here's the thing. James Cook's through his bye. Achane isn't. And then Tedero, McMillan to Ricky Pearsall, clear downgrade. So I probably opt to go with the Tet and James Cook side of this. Now, Bank trading Chase Brown, Jackson Dart for Achane. This is Achane. It's not even remotely close. Zlay trading Addison for Kamani Vidal. I'm going to go ahead and take Addison because realistically, I think by the time we get to the fantasy playoffs, the expectations probably will be that you actually do have, Amari and Hampton back in and Vidal as a backup RB. Okay. Saram, wide receiver. Between Tet, Worthy, and Diggs, probably go Tet. And then for the flex, Worthy, Diggs, flip a coin. Don't play Kincaid. Don't play a running back there. Definitely make sure you're playing one of the receivers. Got a bunch of start-sit questions from Bitter Hornet. Always happy to see you, my friend. Here at wide receiver, here for the flex, it's really like Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt or Terry McLaurin for me. Full PPR format, I'm going to go with Scary Terry. And then obviously JCM as a backup. Here for this next one, full PPR league, I'm going to plan on going Chase Brown. Chase Brown's in a really good matchup against the Jets as a heavy favorite. Bitter Hornet trading away CMC for a Bijan, slight downgrade / lateral move. Daniels and Higgins for Lamar Jackson. I think this is actually a very fair trade, to be honest. And with the wide receiver depth that you have, I think you can do this. It's a fair trade. Now, Bitter Hornet trading Daniels for Lamar, upgrade. CMC to Bijan, lateral move / slight downgrade. Sutton to Hunter, downgrade. Tyler Warren to Kincaid, downgrade. I think I'd prefer the other deal than this one. This one's Daniels, CMC, Cortland Sutton. What was our first trade again? Higgins, that's what I thought. I think I wouldn't do Sutton, but I would do the Higgins one. But here I would want to hold on to Sutton. Okay. Bitter Hornet says, concerns about CMC's workload in the long term, as well as Daniel's injury taken away is running too much. I'd rather keep Warren. So Sutton to Devonta Smith, slight downgrade. If A.J. Brown gets traded, then may not be a downgrade at all. And then I know the centerpieces of this trade, right, is we trade Jaden Daniels and McCaffrey and we get back Bijan and Lamar. That's been what we are looking at here. If I don't think you can do it if you're trading away Tyler Warren, though. Again, those initial deals, like the T. Higgins one, I really like. But if all of a sudden you're including like the elite tight end here, I think you are just giving up too much. So I think I would go with the Jaden Daniels, CMC, Sutton, Tyler Warren end. Okay. Now, this is from Nathan. Here from the flex, I would play probably Darnell Mooney and Keon Coleman. You have Trey Tucker, J-Mo on bye, and Hollywood's not startable anymore. Beto trading Lamb for Rice, downgrade. Worthy to Igbuka, upgrade. I think it's a very much a fair trade. And honestly, while I very rarely ever want to say, yeah, let's trade the best player in the deal, I think it's understandable in this instance. I think you can go and get Rice and Igbuka. Now, Quagga trading Josh Downs for Godwin. I have Godwin ranked higher. Obviously, Downs going to give you production in the short term, where Godwin's just long term. Then Colo, here on the bench, our best name is Troy Franklin, which we're not getting Troy Franklin in over these guys. Shimo's quarterback, Lamar over Daniel Jones. Tight end, Ferg over Kelsey. B. Lawrence, we need 2 running backs. We're going to play the combo of Barkley and honestly, Derrick Henry, Rashad White's close, full PPR. And Scat. There's no way I can tell you to go Scat here, just given the offensive projections for all these running backs. Looking at the average rankings on the site, you have Derrick Henry and Rashad White back-to-back. Looking at my rankings, they're back-to-back as well. I can go back and forth 1,000 times. Non-PPR format, it's Derrick Henry, not even remotely close. Half PPR league, it's probably Derrick Henry. Full PPR league, it may be a Rashad White, but again, gonna be up to you. Okay. South Florida Dog. Trading Dowdle for Jalen Warren, yes. Ladd, Pittman, no. Harvey to Ridley, no. I'd probably keep Ladd here. Like, while Hubbard comes in, he plays just as much, if not more than Rico Dowdle this past week. Dowdle's just been so much better. My expectations would be that Dowdle expands his role as time goes on. Now, German Starfish trading Gibbs, Devonta Smith for Jacobs and Sutton. Downgrade at running back, upgrade at wide receiver. I think it's a fair trade. I probably lean with the best player in the deal with Jahmyr Gibbs. The world in which I think you can do it, though, is if you're like in a must-win game this week where you're going up against the team you're going to be battling it out to get that last playoff spot for, and you can't afford the Jahmyr Gibbs buy. Okay. Now, C. Wheeland. It's trading Bo, Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, and Jefferson for St. Brown and Jalen Hurts. I'm going to take St. Brown and Jalen Hurts. I'd rather St. Brown over Jefferson, especially knowing that this trade probably doesn't go through until next week since Jefferson's already played. And then I am very low on Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt at this point. Just has not shown anything as a receiver all year. Okay. Now, yonder running back, we have no ETN, no Hampton. You go actually on Underdog, like we showed, Tyler Allgeier's better projections, but I think you play Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, even though the projections are better. I'm not going to rank it that way myself. Then here for the flex, we have no Hunter, no St. Brown, no Marv. So I guess your only other option is Tyler Allgeier. Like, absolutely brutal as hell. Clem trading Brees Adams for Judkins and Devonta Smith. I think it's a fair deal. And honestly, it's going to be up to you. Okay. Now, let's move this over to our next one. This is going to be Mahoy. Looking to get Genty out. What do you think? Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Running back Genty to Javonte upgrade. Dobbins to Warren upgrade. And we pay Wan'Dale Robinson to get it done. Let's go for it. Okay. Now, CP trading Harvey, Stevenson, Worthy for Rice and Dobbins. Yes, it's Stevenson to Dobbins upgrade, Worthy to Rice upgrade, and you pay RJ Harvey to get it done. I will take this and we'll run. Now, Jackson trading CMC Debo for Chase and Derrick Henry. It's an 8-team league, so I'm just going to tell you to take the best player. You take McCaffrey. Now, I completely understand. Like, a lot of people are going to say the Jamar Chase side's the winner there. But just in an 8-team format, I want the best player. Okay. Now we got to refresh this to make sure we can keep this thing going, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Let's move this over. This is from Sean Dangster. Here for the flex, we're looking at no Wilson, no JSN, no Hunter, no Walker, no Montgomery. So I don't know if you want to ask me about your waiver wire options, my friend. I'll send you over another free start sit question. But as of now, the players on your team, none of them are playing this week. Manic here at wide receiver. You go Olave over A.J. Brown and St. Brown easily now. And then down in the flex, we would go ahead and we would take Kamara. Really your only options. Flock God trading a future second for Dobbins. Do you really need Dobbins if you're an actual contender? I mean, this week we definitely do. And why look like you can contend in this league? It's a fair deal. I'm not going to mark Dobbins as the winner because I will say, without a doubt, we would rather have the second round pick by the time we get to the offseason. But contending team, I see how J.K. Dobbins is going to help you out there. Now, Popple Jack is trading Marv and Evan Ingram for Ingram to Njoku. Who cares? Marv to Pearsall, downgrade. You're picking up Aaron Jones and Matthew Stafford. Like, you would start Stafford 1 week with the week 10 Mahomes bye. He's meaningless. The Titans are meaningless when you have Gatson and Schultz. Aaron Jones, in my mind's in a 50-50 split with Jordan Mason and not startable outside of a Jordan Mason injury. So for me here, I'd probably take the best player, which, at least in my mind, the best player is Marv. Am I going to say it easily? No, but that's what I would do. Okay, now, Cape effect. Running back, I would go Chubb over Calvin on guy with Swift playing. And then in the flex, we have no Nico, no Myers, no St. Brown. If Mason Taylor plays, you go Mason Taylor. If he doesn't, you go Calvin on guy. Was Mason Taylor at practice today? That's something I do not know. Okay. Now let's move this over to our next question. Ricky is trading Devonta Smith and Trey Benson for ETN, Debo, Harvey, and Byshell Tootin. Devonta Smith, ETN about the same to me. Benson, RJ Harvey, I may rather have RJ Harvey. You're getting Debo Samuel essentially for free. So yeah, I'd make that deal. Okay. Now J2 Wavy is trading Jalen Knoll, Jerry Jeudy, Trey Tucker. 3 nothings for Tucker Kraft. Now I understand that this is a 14-team format. So while I say that there are 3 nothings, we are a little bit being tongue-in-cheek there because they're not nothing in a 14-teamer. But they're pretty damn close to nothing. So yeah, for me, I think I would very easily kind of prefer Tucker Kraft in this. Now, Plain Trez says, head into 6-2. Is running back a liability? Should we do this? A running back is a liability. But no, I do not think you should do this. I think you're taking on a lot of risk with the offense if you do this. For CeeDee Lamb, we just know what we're going to get. He is elite at this point. So I think I would just keep it simple. I think I would just hold on to CeeDee Lamb. Now, peculiarly says, should I go for the wide receiver depth? We are contending. Dynasty, Superflex, start 10 format. Daniel Jones to Goff, lateral move up to you. Bucky to Chase Brown, big time downgrade. Igbuka to Marv, big time downgrade, and you're picking up Garrett Wilson. No. Especially not if you're contending. At least for me, I think you should very easily prefer Daniel Jones, Bucky, and Igbuka here. Now, Bradley is Bradley. Trading Kittle for Kamara. I have Kittle ranked ahead of Kamara, but you also have Ferguson on this team, and you don't really have a long-term running back too. So I think you probably lose this deal. But realistically, you can lose the deal and it still makes sense for you. So I probably would do this. Okay. Now let's move this over to our next question. This is from Zlay. Trading McBride for Caleb Williams. Yeah, Chief. I don't care if you have Gadsden, not the best quarterback room. You would need an elite quarterback. And in my mind, this is not that. So I think I would quite easily want you to take Trey McBride here. I don't really think it's close either. Okay. Member Win says, could use the depth help. Is there a better trade? Yes, there's for sure a better trade, my guy. In my mind, like, I don't know if we should be paying this kind, like, because here's the thing. If you need the depth help, what happens if you make this deal and we don't get back Bucky Irving for quite some time? We have no idea when Bucky's coming back. So for me, I would rather just hold on to Javonte. Now, Jam, here for the flex. I think you take Jalen Warren. I don't actually know. Jalen Warren, Chase Brown, both are compelling. Chase Brown is a much better matchup this week going up against the Jets, where the Bengals are heavily favored. I have Chase Brown RB13 in my rankings this week, and I have Jalen Warren RB16. I think I'd rather have Jalen Warren rest of season. But this week in particular, I think you take Chase Brown in a great matchup. Now, JB is trading Chase Brown, Jake Ferg for Javonte. 8-team league where we have Tucker Kraft. So I'm completely fine with you making this deal. 12-team league, probably not. 10-team league, maybe. But here, 8-team league, yeah, let's get the best player in the deal. And I do think the best player in the deal is Javonte. Okay. Now, our next question. It's from Chase Belkak. It's trading Pittman Swift for Saquon Barkley. 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Give me the best player. Give me Barkley. I'm very biased. I have him on my own team, and I really do hope that he gets better. Okay. Now, Phil's trading Worthy for Jalen Waddle. It's Waddle. I don't think it's that close either. Now, Shop X here for the flex. It's between Quinshon Judkins and George Pickens, effectively. You probably take Judkins, but I do think he's going to regress here. Again, it was a really good matchup against Miami last week, which is why he was so high in our ranks. Now, Maya says, got OG2 for the Trey buy. What now? Just one ideas. 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So I don't think the play is you just trade Trey McBride straight up for a wide receiver. Now, of course, I mean, if this is the best you're going to get, this is the best you're going to get, and sure, go for it. But realistically, I would prefer us to try to take Trey and one of the wide receivers that we have to get up to a Puka Nacua level player, rather than getting Drake London. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Or you could try to sell Gatson in a 2-for-1 deal to upgrade wide receiver instead. Now, Block Boy trading Trey Benson for George Pickens. I cannot possibly imagine what kind of league or what kind of team I would need to think that this is fair. So I'm going to go ahead and I will take George Pickens here. I guess maybe if it's a league in which you get an additional 30 points per week for every Arizona Cardinal starting running back that you have on your team, then maybe you can. Okay. And is it true, did Wemby really have 9 blocks today? Wemby had 9 blocks today. Is Wemby going to be the best basketball player of all time? I know that's crazy to say. The dude's like 22 years old. And just to let y'all know, I grew up a San Antonio Spurs fan. So I may be very biased here, but he has to at least be a foot taller than I am. What do y'all think? I think Wemby's about a foot taller than I am, which I've never met somebody that tall in real life. Insane. Sacred Cause says he's 7'4". Okay, so never mind. He's not a foot taller than I am. He's maybe about 6 inches, but I will say, all jokes aside, my fiance actually did work on if y'all ever saw like the Wemby Rookie of the Year commercial, it was like for a jersey thing or something. So she met Wemby and they told like everybody that was working on it, you are not allowed, they specifically said, you are not allowed to say when you see him or when you meet him, wow, you're tall, which is just hilarious. Because I'm sure that like if you are him, that's every scene, instead of somebody saying hello to you, the first interaction you always get is, oh, you're tall. Like I worked at a water park all through high school every summer. And it was like natural river waters called Schlitterbahn, best place ever. And the water was freezing. And you would help people get in their tubes. And every single time they step foot in the water, they just go, oh, that's cold. Oh, that's cold. Oh, that's cold. And you'd hear 200 people in a row say that. So I'm sure that's his entire life. It's just hearing, oh, you're tall. Oh, you're tall. Oh, you're tall. Jason says, I'm first in the league at 6-1. And the guy who's 3-4 needs the players he sent me in this trade. So do you think I should do it? I also have Jalen Hurts. So AJ Brown to Nico. I'd rather have Nico Collins. Wan'Dale to Brian Thomas. I'd rather have Brian Thomas. 6-1. I have Josh Jacobs, and the Bucky Irving owner of my league reached out to me today wanting to trade me Bucky, and I said no. But I'm 5-2, not 6-1. So I understand you making this trade. But realistically, I think you are taking on a lot of risk here. Like the reason I wasn't wanting to go out there and trade for Bucky Irving on my 5-2 team, where I pretty much have this week locked up, is, are we sure we get Bucky Irving back after the bye? We've heard nothing positive coming out of Tampa about him. Not a single word. So I think I would just play it safe. I think I would just go ahead and hold on to Josh Jacobs, to be honest. Let me go ahead and send you over a free trade question just in case they up the offer. Okay. Now, Dirty Milkers says Watson on waivers and then K. Williams for Dobbins. Are you saying, do we trade Kyron Williams for J.K. Dobbins? Are you a psychopath? No, we'd rather have Kyron Williams. And then don't pick up Watson off the waiver wire. This team's great. Leave this as is. Why are you stressing? Why are you stressing? Leave that as is, my friend. Now, Bashu with the next one. Here for the flex. Best option on the bench right now is, I guess, Jalen Knoll. And I'd keep Shaheed in there. So I think we leave this as is. I'd be surprised if you didn't have a better streaming option than Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, though. Now, T-Dog with our next one. For the flex, no Nico. So it's like Tez Johnson or Kyle Monangai or Kate Otten. I'd go Tez Johnson. Hope that we get another touchdown. Bitter Hornet, always happy to see you. So should I drop Franklin and add Loveland to play him at tight end instead of Fannin? Or you're going to play Chase Brown at the flex. So I would probably cut Franklin for Loveland. I don't necessarily think that you need to play I don't think that you need to go ahead and play Loveland this week, but I could buy you wanting to chase the long-term upside of it. Okay. Pop Pie Guide against us. First year in fantasy football, currently 4-3, was first in the team analyzer until last week. Now, no, I need to make moves, but not 100% sure. What are your thoughts? Appreciate you, my friend. Here at tight end, I would start Otten this week. Actually, let me see. What are the projections for Otten versus Loveland? I haven't seen the projections yet for Loveland. All right, let me pull this up. Okay. Loveland's, yeah. Loveland's higher, lower, 30.5 total yards. I'm assuming we're going to go Kate Otten. What's Otten's projections at? Higher, lower, 39.5. Yeah, we stand by that. So, yeah, I think you go Otten, but I do like having Loveland there just in case he pops. Then for the flex, you play DJ Moore and Jaden Higgins. I don't necessarily see any trades. Like, I mean, if you end up getting one of these tight ends popping off, like if Loveland is the next Gadsden, and then at that point you could potentially flip him and get a better flex by selling him and Kenneth Walker for somebody, we would. But again, not necessarily something that we can do right now. Okay, but let me go ahead and send you over another free start set question in case you have anything else, my friend. Now, let's move this over to our next question. That Morris kid says, got offered this, but my bench depth isn't great. Do we go with the elite talent or hold? Much love, my friend. It's a league in which depth does matter. I understand we don't have much of it, but here's the thing. The price is too good where if we got to go to the waiver wire to backfill, we'll go to the waiver wire to backfill. So we're going to take Igbukah here. But I will say, yeah, the depth is a little bit shaky on your team. So I understand you not really being that excited about it. Now, Thin Blue Line says, scared to trade Henry away, but tight end is my weak spot. Derrick Henry to Javon. Okay, so here's the thing. There's no way in hell that Mark Andrews really makes a difference. Zach Ertz, TJ Hawkinson are on the waiver wire. If you want to say that Mark Andrews is better than those names, sure, but it's not by much. So if we were looking at this, like, for me, I don't think Mark Andrews is rosterable. I mean, I may make the deal because DJ Moore is almost a 0. And like, I do think Javonte is an upgrade over Derrick Henry. I'm probably going to tell you to go Derrick Henry though, just because I don't want to waste the roster spot on Mark Andrews. And I'd rather you go pick up a tight end for free, like TJ Hawkinson off the waiver wire, Zach Ertz off the waiver wire. But yeah, I can't see a world in which like Mark Andrews is all of a sudden our guy. Now, TJ trading Dobbins and Pickens for Kyron. We got the elite level wide receivers. I'm fine with you doing this. Would I prefer waiting until after Kyron's bye? For sure. But Boyle is trading Lamb and Olave for St. Brown, Terry, and Jacobs. Yeah, this is going to be St. Brown and Jacobs easily. I don't even care about Terry. Bitter Hornet says he's 0-7. He's waiting to see how JCM Jones performed this week. How can I improve this deal if he backs out? One told CMC Puka Daniels. Okay, well, let me go ahead and send you this stuff over. So here's the thing. Which side would we rather have on the initial deal that you're asking about? Aaron Jones, Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, Sutton, Tyler Warren versus Bijan Robinson. It's Bijan Robinson. Now, how often do I see 4-for-1 deals actually get done? Very rarely ever. So it is much easier said than done to actually pull this off. What you may realistically need to do is you may realistically just need to offer a better piece in this. Like, the issue is, I guess, after like CMC, we don't, and Puka, we don't necessarily have a quote unquote better piece. Which again, like I said, I think that's what you would kind of have to look at doing. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think. Because the last thing is I can say is, oh, just add Ricky Pearsall. Because, again, 4-for-1 deals are hard to come by. It's not like I can tell you, like, oh, yeah, just add a 5th player. That will get it done. That will never happen. Okay. But in terms of like, what's the better running back we can add? Like, if they don't want Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, give him Rico Dowdle instead. I mean, maybe you need to send them Rico Dowdle and Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt and hold on to Aaron Jones. Which in that case, I'd still probably take Bijan in a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. But again, I don't think the solution to it is adding a 5th player, because it's already going to be extremely difficult to get a 4-for-1 done. I mean, a 4-for-1 trade done. Now, Banksy's trading Achane Sutton for Diggs and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Achane to JSN, give me JSN. Sutton to Diggs, give me Sutton. Leftover running back, we'll have Derrick Henry, Kamani Vidal, Woody Marks. I think it's a fair deal. I think it's up to you. Now, Griffin is looking to start. I would go with Higgins over Worthy this week. But in the flex, you're going to play Worthy anyway. Those are the two guys you're looking at. Okay. And then Batmac trading Kyron and Christian Watson for Etienne and Ramondre. Christian Watson's a literal 0. It's a league in which depth matters a lot. We have Kyron, and that is really it at running back. I would say 99.9% of teams should want Kyron Williams here. However, with yours, I understand you making this pivot, knowing that the depth matters in your league and you don't have much of it. So for you, I can understand how this is a fair deal, but I want to be on the same. I want everybody to be on the same page here that the majority of teams should be looking at Kyron. Okay. Now, let's see if we can refresh this. Now, Loafin B says, no tight end, 14-team Superflex. Really like Kraft this week or Schultz. Okay. So, if this was a regular league, it would be Tucker Kraft, and I would laugh at anybody making this deal. 14-team Superflex, where our quarterbacks are the Jets guys and Aaron Rodgers. And you don't have to start a tight end. If I'm reading that correctly, then in that case, you're taking Mac Jones and Jamison Williams. Then Mr. Filthy Wubs, you play Pittman and DK Metcalf. If you wanted to go with Higgins over Pittman, I wouldn't fault you for it. With Downs, good to go this week. But I think that's all we're going to have for this live stream. We are live for about 2 hours. I know we have some more team reviews to get to. Don't worry. Obviously, we'll be live answering questions again tomorrow, and those answers will get sent to you through the site, so you don't have to worry if you missed it in the live stream. You don't actually have to be here to see your questions. But I really appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. And I really hope I get to see you in the live stream tomorrow night. If not, I'll be live Sunday morning answering questions as well. Much love. And